Oh, ho, ho, ho. Mystic? Are you lost? Did you get lost in Discord land? It's good to see your name there. It's joyful, in fact. TikTok, go to YouTube. Get off TikTok. It's no good. It's not good for your soul. You know I'm right. Rumble good. The floof. Yeah, YouTube is good. TikTok, go to YouTube. Get off TikTok. You're not going to be able to see or hear anything other than me, and that's a very sad life. Just in general. Yes. Yes, I see. That seems like a very ambivalent, conflicted first. I don't know whether you're proud or disappointed. All right, Discord's open. Everything's rolling. We got a couple of minutes. We're gonna split this into two parts because I just don't see any other way of doing it without it being a catastrophe. So we're gonna do a warm up with some stuff that is still terrible, but it's less terrible than what the ending will be. The ending will be the obvious fact that we're all slowly fading into a revolution. So we'll get there. I hate people that say first, but I also jump at the opportunity. I'm part of the problem. I get that. I actually did that for the first time in my life today, so it's funny that you said that. I happen to have like the YouTube feed open when Tim Dillon uploaded his episode, and I was first. So I'm like, holy shit, nailed it. First. Infamous, who are you? I think I recognize everybody right now, and I do not recognize you. So it's good to see you, whoever you are. If you're not in Discord, I highly would urge you to join the Discord. And on that note, while we wait, since we're still early, here's the Discord. There is a link in the description of the video, I'm sure. I will also post one, I suppose, since we're waiting anyways. I'll post it in the pin chat at some point as we go. In the Discord, the most important things, even if you don't ever talk to us or do anything else in there, this will tell you when stuff is. So the events tab, you're watching news and culture right now. Sunday, we do a deep dive Bible study. And then Thursday, we do a topic-based discussion where you can come on the voice channel and talk. Last week, we talked about pornography. Next week, we have a tiebreaker that I keep forgetting to post the poll for. So I'll post that tonight or tomorrow at the latest, and then we'll see what that is. But that's chose by the community, not by me. And then we talk about all that stuff. Beyond that, you got all the normal good stuff, off-topic, random stuff, theology, culture and news, conspiracy, the Bible, spirituality, science, etc. And then down here is where you can come talk. So if you are in the Discord and you're an active, well, people know who you are and they recognize you. You will become a verified speaker, and then you can join these voice channels. And once you're in the voice channel, you can come on and talk if you so choose. That's Discord. All right, where are we at? I say go because these run super late. So we're just going to roll right into things. Nah, you were the first comment. There's Floof. All right, so first thing, just to warm up, because this is something that, Lilith, good to see you. This is something that bugs me. Simply Orange, which is owned by Coca-Cola, is currently being sued. So a lot of the details are fuzzy, and a lot of the story seems to be changing from everything that I'm seeing. And that doesn't necessarily surprise me due to the company itself and the pull that they have in the market in general. But the interesting thing is what they're being sued for is that they're finding PFAS contaminants in the Simply Orange. And what that is they're called forever chemicals. So the Simply Orange lawsuit centers around PFOA and PFOS, two water-resistant PFAS found in the Simply Tropical Orange tested by Lorenz. The FDA regulates the amount of PFOA and PFOS used in the food storage containers to help mitigate the migration of these chemicals into the food. But these regulations don't include all types of PFAS. So this leads into this whole thing that's kind of big right now. If you're anything clued into like health or fitness or anything, is like microplastics, things like this, ways that we store our food, ways that we choose to heat our food in certain types of storage. Like people will tell you not to heat up a plastic Tupperware container because it will seep some of the microplastics into your food, and then you eat it, and then that's in your body. There are a lot of theories, similar to Alex Jones's thing about the gay frogs, where microplastics, in theory, I say very loosely because there are studies behind it, that microplastics will actually, they'll make your hormones go out of whack. To what degree fully? Not sure. What are the long-term health consequences? Not really sure. But if it's a sustained imbalance of your hormones, we can pretty accurately understand what the long-term effect of that will be. Because other things that deregulate our hormones, we do have long-term studies of what that does to a man or a woman, depending. So I just thought this was interesting. Some of the health impacts of PFAS accumulate in the environment and in the body and do not break down quickly. Most humans already have PFAS in their bloodstream, so scientists are interested in the compounding adverse effects of these forever chemicals. Specifically, what do PFAS do to your body over time? The long-term health impacts include liver disease, immune dysfunction, low birth weight, and cancer. Long-term exposure of these chemicals increases the likelihood of negative health effects, but not enough studies have been done on humans to determine just how detrimental these compounds might be. Yeah, forever chemicals. So, I mean, I'm of the opinion that, like, even if you don't have a whole lot of long-term data, take vaping as a good example. And this comes from, I vaped for like a long time, a very long time. But take vaping as a good example. We don't have any long-term studies at all. So it could be that there are no long-term adverse health effects. That's possible. Is it likely? Probably not. So what you're doing, you're just completely gambling. You know that you're ingesting something that is probably not good, short-term or long-term. You don't know for sure, but you know it's probably not good. So is it something that you should ingest into your body? Probably not. I look at things like this in a very similar fashion. The thing with microplastics, things like that, we as a household have slowly begun to shift away from plastic just in general. Liquids are in glass. You know, we were just talking about it 10 minutes ago, is containers for food storage. We're shifting to glass. If there's any chance of messing up your hormones with something so simple as don't put that in plastic, why would you not just do that? I'm of that opinion, is why would you not just do that? Pastora, good to see you. There's Nat. Scott, I love Simply Orange, but haven't bought it in a long time because orange juice is so expensive. It's also garbage. Don't forget that. Honestly, like it, again, maybe a hot take. I don't know. I come from the fitness world. I was a trainer for a long time. That was like my first real career. Orange juice is not much better than Coca-Cola. Unless you're getting actually natural orange juice. On the sugar front, it's really not that much better. On the chemical front, it's really not that much better. It's like, it's something that we've been indoctrinated into believing, like, oh, it's orange juice, it's good for you. It's like, no. You can eat 2 oranges and have that actually be good for you. Get the vitamin C. It's low calorie for the most part, has natural sugar. 9 out of 10 things of orange juice you buy they don't have just natural sugar. They have sugar additives. They have other chemicals. They have preservatives. They have all sorts of junk in them. So I'm like, if I'm going to drink garbage, I'm gonna have something better than orange juice. But I get it. But always go for the real food, man. It would be my 2 cents on that bit. Now this comes from Ghost and Cat. So at some point this week, I don't know. I was in an attic all day one day, and these guys were going back and forth about billionaires in bunkers, bunker billionaires. So Mark Zuckerberg spent 187 million secretly buying 1,600 acres of Hawaii land, and now he is reportedly building a massive, self-sustaining apocalypse bunker. Meta Platform Incorporated CEO Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly constructing an expensive compound in Kauai, featuring a unique blend of luxury and survivalist elements. The compound, known as Kulu Ranch, is set to include a 5,000 square foot underground bunker, complete with its own energy and food supplies. The bunker's design incorporates a metal door filled with concrete, a feature commonly found in bunkers and bomb shelters. The project, which reflects a growing trend among Silicon Valley elites for preparedness and luxury, is estimated to cost around $100 million to build, on top of the $170 million he spent acquiring the land. This brings the total investment to approximately $270 million, according to Wired. My first question about that, honestly, is that seems super cheap. Do I just have do I have a weird view of money at this stage of my life, or considering maybe the content I intake? I don't know, but $270 million for like an elaborate billionaire bunker in Hawaii, it seems like almost lackluster. It's like you'd expect it to be more. That could just be me though. Disney World Drew. Hey, I just got off. I'm headed home. We leave Florida tomorrow. Oh, good for you, man. Well, I'm glad you're here. Glad you made it. Coming from a family that eats a lot of fruit. Without the fiber, it's not even worth the sugar from the fruit. Oh, Nat knows her stuff. That's the part that makes it so much better for your body. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Fruit is almost never intelligent to drink, the way that it's given to us in America, at least. It's never a replacement. It's soda. I would essentially just think of it as soda. It's garbage. God gave us food with the proper ratios of sugar, fiber, etc. We fiddle with the ratios. We fiddle with them. We add chemicals. We add additional sugar. We just completely destroy them. There's absolutely nothing good about it whatsoever. TikTok, go to YouTube. Unfortunately, the wife wants kids to experience it, and I hate Disney. Yeah, I had to agree to take Kat to Disney at some point because I'm staunchly anti-Disney. We were the people that immediately canceled Disney and had to sit down and have a talk with Zaya about why she was no longer allowed to watch Disney, like way early on in COVID. All right, so that's fun stuff. I guess that's fun stuff. Billionaires building bunkers. The world seems to be completely falling apart. It all makes sense, though, if you think about it. I love this. Okay, I really love this. So anybody... Hey, you're supporting... Does everybody know who Fetterman is? Do we all at least have like a general grasp of who Fetterman is? Fetterman is somebody who... I can't... Was it a stroke? Was it a stroke or I think it was a stroke. Ruth, good to see you. So I think Fetterman is... Yeah, he had a stroke. Okay, thank you guys. So Fetterman had a stroke, or I believe it might have been a series of strokes. Either way, the past couple of years, he's been in the media basically only for bad policy, backing really wild democratic concepts and ideas, and not really being there mentally. And it's been something that's kind of bothered me personally from a political front, because if somebody has a stroke and then their brain doesn't function to its best, I don't think it's something to really make fun of. Sometimes it's hard to not laugh because sometimes when somebody trips and falls and gets hurt, it's funny. You feel bad for them. It's not meant to be disrespectful, but it's just funny. Fetterman was one of those things, but honestly, I've always felt kind of bad for him because I feel like he was being used. He was being used by, I believe, his wife, and then he was being used by, in my opinion, the higher ups in the Democratic Party. Well, now, as of recently, he dresses so nice. Doesn't he wear Carhartts all the time? Isn't he in Carhartts and like Harley Davidson stuff the majority of the time? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Anyways, Fetterman has seemed to have come around. So it seems he is kind of flipping. So this got released the other day. It says pro-Palestinian protesters showed up at John Fetterman's home to chant that he supports genocide. Fetterman went to his roof and waved an Israeli flag at them. I can't believe it, but I'm starting to really like and respect Fetterman. 2024 is wild, y'all.
Fetterman, Fetterman, you can't hide! You're supporting genocide! 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 Fetterman, Fetterman, you can't.
That's all it is. So you got a bunch of people outside of his house chanting because he's been saying some things in the news lately about, he's mostly like anti the war altogether, but he does seem to lean more on the side of Israel. So because of that, and because of the fact that he kind of wears the Democratic flag himself, he's been catching a lot of heat for this. So he's got some people outside his house. They have a nickname for Fetterman. Are you able to put it in the YouTube chat? If you can, definitely do it. If you can't, then put it in Discord, just in case. Anyways, at least he's standing up for like what he believes in. Even if he wasn't always on this side, at least he's like, you know, I've had a change of heart. I'm going to stand on my roof and wave the freaking flag. Get the hell out of here. Yelling and repeating ourselves is doing something important. I love that. I love it. It's like the epitome of sheep. It's like, we're not sheep. We're going to show up to a place altogether, not have any idea why we're here, not have any idea what we're saying, but we're going to say it. And we're going to say it really well, and we're going to be loud, and we're going to wave stuff around that we don't know what it means. The epitome of it all. Honestly, Joe, at some point we need to go over the YouTube rules and Discord or something, because I honestly don't know what I'm supposed to do or not do. So the thing in the Discord rules are in Discord. They're super clear. They're wildly clear, because we had some issues with members months back. So I don't think the rules could be any more clear in Discord. YouTube is different, but Discord, you can find them. They're in the FAQ, I believe. YouTube will actually pull your comment, and I have to approve it if it's bad, if their AI catches it as bad. So you're pretty free. I mean, be mindful. If you get crazy, like we'll have to remove you. But if you just say something wild, I usually get a little thing that says approve or block. It's happened a decent amount of times. It doesn't do as much as blocking traffic and make me... Yeah, that's just obnoxious. I love it when climate activists stop traffic and just let everybody idle their cars in the highway for hours at a time. That's my favorite, personally. All right, U.S. Central Command statement on Marlin tanker attack. So we got another one of these. There was a few last week. Here's another. Houthis strike MV Marlin Luanda operating in the Gulf of Aden on January 26, approximately 7:45 p.m. Iranian-backed Houthi terrorists fired one anti-ship ballistic missile from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen and struck the Marshall Islands. Flagged oil tanker MV Marlin Luanda. The ship issued a distress call and reported damage. USS Carney and other coalition ships have responded and are rendering assistance. No injuries have been reported at this time. They've got some photos of it. I mean, relatively severe. Is it enough to like stop the ship? I don't know. I'm not a sailor, but it seems relatively severe. But this, all that seems to be really happening is, I believe it's the Red Sea, which is prime for trade. I could totally be wrong, so I hope somebody fact check me if I'm wrong. But that's what I remember, at least, is the Red Sea is kind of the target right now, and they're just going to hit whatever goes over there. There's a lot of people saying, you know, why do we keep sending ships there? It seems like a political thing, like you want them to bomb the ship. You want them to shoot a missile at the ship. I don't know. But it does just keep happening. I feel like I've seen at least 4 or 5 instances of just this recently. Okay. And this. Thinking of creative ways to get around the censorship lords is a fun hobby, though. Yeah, I mean, be creative. So Canada has a problem. Canada has a similar problem, from my understanding, to what Britain is kind of going through right now. And it's not any different than what the US is going through right now. I mean, everybody, when you get down to the bottom of it, in my opinion, is this all really traces back to the UN. The UN has put things into place. The UN has begun to shift and move. And now you have all of these major hit points. You have Britain, the UK in general. You have Canada, and you have the United States of America, where all of a sudden borders just don't exist. And where once, not that long ago, there were very strict guidelines to coming in, just in general, to gaining citizenship, or to flying on airplanes. Flying on airplanes seems to still be going, just trucking along. You know, they still have no problem putting a finger in your butt to let you get on your United flight. But now, if you want to go to Canada, the UK, or the US, you just come. You just come. And so a lot of the stories that are not making headlines are things like this. I had to dig to find this, and I don't wonder why. Warmington. This was a jihad-like terror attack in Canada that no one seems to be talking about. It's not every day there is a jihadist-inspired terror attack in Canada related to Israel's war in Gaza that few seem to know about. But it did happen, and the country is just fortunate no one was murdered in the process. The potential was definitely there. This was an all-out Gaza-inspired jihadist terror attack with gunfire and homemade bombs at Edmonton's City Hall on Tuesday, and not a word out of the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, asshole, about it so far. In fact, on X, he was talking about being at the women's professional hockey game in Ottawa. This was a terrifying incident. Security video shows a man entering Edmonton's City Hall wearing a commissionaire's security jacket and carrying a long gun and appearing to shoot it. Police say he was heavily armed, but no one seems to be talking about it. There's Trudeau's tweet at the time about being at the women's hockey game. It's almost like this potentially genocidal rampage was missed by the country, or even covered up or softened in terms of its seriousness. This is the Toronto Sun, by the way. Certainly, when you compare the coverage to the reactions of media and politicians on the Truckers' Freedom Convoy or the arrests at the trials at Tamara Leach, Chris Barber, and Pat King, or the Coutts, Alberta for conspiracy to commit murder, it's a head scratcher how understanding this incident has been so far when you weigh and compare the evidence. What happened here is way more serious than anything that happened with the trucker protests, but you would never know that judging from the reaction of the media and the political class. However, things are spun about what happened in Edmonton Tuesday. This was clearly as dark and concerning as something can ever get. In addition to the horror of security video showing the armed man during the attack, a taped manifesto, which included Arabic greetings, was also discovered. I don't, there's a lot of talk about sleeper cells, right? I think to a degree, if you think that's not actively happening, if you don't think that's actively in place, I mean, I'd be a bit pressed to call you ignorant. But I mean, with even just numbers, just take numbers, statistics alone, the sheer number of people that are flooding into the UK, flooding into Canada, flooding into the US, terrorists are coming in, period. Like I said about the Bible that Mikkel has liked quoting lately, in this, I don't care what you say. Statistics show terrorists are now in the country, period. And then when you cross-reference with the number of people who have been stopped at the border in the past 3 years, who were on terrorist watch lists, those are just the ones who have been stopped, considering we don't even have a border. So you'd have to be about as ignorant as it gets to think that terrorists have not successfully come into the US, the UK, and Canada. I just don't see any other way of looking at it other than to call you ignorant. Joe and staff will get a whole new setup with 8K streaming. Oh, little does Drew know. Not 8K, but 4K is here. It's just waiting to be built. It's sitting on the floor next to me. I have a clip of Trudeau being a complete psychopath I shared earlier. Ooh, okay. We'll feed that in right now then. Hold on. Hold up. Is it the last thing you posted? Oh, wait, no, I think I got it. It's the red face thing, isn't it? All right, this is from Ghost real quick. On topic. Bizarre video of Justin Trudeau clapping at a hockey game is going viral. Oh my God. People are confused by Trudeau's bizarre clapping at a recent hockey game. That's very creepy. That's like a short circuit. It's hard to explain that. It's pretty hard to explain that. That's so fucking weird. It's stuff like that, man, that gets me. It's been getting me. All right, this is Royal Hospital in Liverpool, speaking of the UK. So this guy just turns around and it's like a makeshift flamethrower of some kind, and he just gets this guy by the vending machine, burned. Here's what gets me. These guys watch him. This guy's got a dead beat on him the whole time. And he's like, oh, he won't do it to me. And he's like, no, I fucking will, actually. Burned, flame to the face. Here's what makes me want to fucking smash shit. Excuse my language. And I don't mean, I hope this doesn't come across any other way. It's a room full of men everywhere, including the man who watched the first guy get flamed and then waited to get flamed himself. And then thank God for this woman who comes in and grabs the guy and shuffles him off back towards the counter. Very disappointing, though, in my opinion. But this is why I always say, man, if men are going to be little bitches, thank God women are stepping up. I don't want to hear men talk about like women. Oh, women are filling a masculine gender role. Yeah, because you're a little bitch. You're standing there watching people get flamethrowered, and then you just run and you do nothing. You run or you sit and you watch. So thank God for the women who are like, yeah, I'm not just going to watch someone flamethrow a dude in the face. I'm going to shuffle his ass back towards the counter. Thank God for her. But it drives me insane. It drives me insane. And that's why it really pisses me off when I hear men talk about, oh, women this and women that. Well, it's because you fucking suck. It's because you are an absolute failure. Okay. Rant over. Military threat over Taiwan. This came out today. It was at 6:56 a.m. Take this with a grain of salt, in my opinion. Breaking unprecedented military threat over Taiwan. Taiwan has detected 33 Chinese military aircraft and naval ships dangerously close to its borders. The alarming surge in military presence marks the most intense show of force since the recent elections. Taiwan is on high alert as tensions soar to new heights. Nothing else has been confirmed that I have seen. I was online at 6:56. I watched him post this, and I just wanted to grab it because this is obviously like, if that actually happens, a lot is going to change relatively quickly. A lot about technology won't happen immediately, but year down the line, 18 months down the line, things will change, which is why we started kind of pushing semiconductors in the US, I believe early 2022, maybe mid 2022. Spines made out of tracing paper. Yes. Yes. It's very sad. It's really disappointing. Men today really disappoint me. Anyways, Taiwan. So the reason I added this tonight, because it is brand new and there's really not a lot to corroborate it, is because I want you to put it next to the rest of what I'm about to show you. So next is Britain. He swears, fair warning.
Can you imagine Sunak calling up the modern day male out of fucking Britain? Have a day off, John. The Russians, they grow up headbutting bears, kicking trees. We've got a nation of fucking geezers that are trying to be birds, sticking aubergines up their arse, bat end first, and now you want us to go to fucking war with them cunts? No. Now you want the fucking hooligans, the football boys, didn't you? Yeah. Put them on the fucking front line. They're not so fucking bad now, are they? You fucking liberal pricks. Anyway, you'll have them charging. We are Millwall. We're Mill. Yeah. fucking Millwall. Up we fucking trot, Johns. You like them then, didn't ya? Tarquin, Lance, Loretta, Bella May, sipping your fucking lattes out in Columbia Road, you cunt. With your fucking limp-wristed boyfriend, wearing high Lonsdale socks, skinny jeans and a fucking hat that don't fit his head, you fucking pricks. Anyway, it's enough swearing.
All right, I'm going to put this one in the chat in case you guys want to watch it later. I know the volume's not coming through very high, but there's nothing else I can do about that one. Essentially, what he's saying is he's talking crap to the government because they're pushing, and this is all over Twitter, all over UK, British Twitter, is they're pushing them into a war with Russia, is how the people are feeling. And he is saying, you know, the focus has been on feminism in men, and this femininity among men, and them being weak and emotional and understanding. And now the government is calling on, you know, real men. And so he's like, now you want the football jocks. Now you want us to come do F you. And then he says a bunch of stuff that's kind of offensive, so I'm not going to repeat it. But you've got the link there. You can watch it later. What the post says is spot on. They demonize the working class all year round every year. When they want a war, they come knocking cap in hand. Well, they can f off. Russia doesn't want any war with us, and we don't want a war with them. This is, again, all over. If you go into UK Twitter, English Twitter, this is being talked about a lot. So that their populace seems to think that they are being pushed into a war with Russia in a more aggressive way, and they do not seem to be about it. They don't want war with Russia. The government wants war with Russia. So we have Taiwan and China, something possibly happening. The thing to remember with this is that that's not super unusual. China does all kinds of stancing and testing in similar areas. It happens. It's not a wild thing to happen. But if it continues, then it's a wild thing to happen. Take that next to the British believing that they're being pushed into a war with Russia. And there's some more on that right here. U.S. nuclear weapons arriving soon in the U.K. Pentagon documents reveal the U.S. has prepared several strategic nuclear warheads for shipment to the U.K., marking the first such transfer in 15 years. So Taiwan and China, UK and Russia. U.S. we'll get to in a minute, but 15 years. This hasn't happened. It's happening now. Moscow has issued a warning of escalation as these warheads are set to be transferred to RAF Lucan Heath in Suffolk, UK in the coming weeks. Take that. Stationing U.S. nuclear weapons in Britain doesn't benefit our country or our people. The people are not about it. Increasingly, the drums of war are being beaten. The British ruling class should think very carefully whether they want to take an already disgruntled populace into a war thousands of miles away. So this is what I'm saying. It's heavy on UK Twitter today. When I was on here this morning, it is all that they're talking about. It's not super surprising. It's not that surprising. Now, real quick with this. Wealthy Chicago suburbs propose allowing residents to sign up to house migrants. Oh, they blocked me. Okay, basically what this is near where we are. Chicago has become completely overrun. Both in the streets, because there's just no more room. You know, they were a sanctuary state, and now they're like, what do we do now? Like New York has put migrants in schools. People lost their minds. Chicago was going to build tent cities, camps, essentially. They got so much backlash. They said, okay, fine, we won't build camps. So now it's just all over the place. It's all over the southern part of Chicago. So some of the suburban cities who are trying to be super good liberals are saying, well, perhaps we should put together a program where families out here in suburbia can take in migrants. Guess everybody's going to have a different opinion on that. I don't see it going well, I guess is all I would say. Which leads us to this. So we have China and Taiwan. You've got Britain and Russia. You've got Ukraine and Russia. You've got the Houthis in the US. You've got Israel and Gaza. Oh, gee, it seems like it's all over the world. And then you've got us here. Supreme Court allows federal agents to cut razor wire. Texas installed on the U.S.-Mexican border. A divided Supreme Court on Monday allowed Border Patrol agents to resume cutting for now razor wire that Texas installed along a stretch of the U.S.-Mexican border that is at the center of an escalating standoff between the Biden administration and the state over immigration enforcement. The 5-4 vote clears the way for Border Patrol agents to cut or clear out consortium wire that Texas has put along the bank of the Rio Grande to deter migrants from entering the U.S. illegally. Some migrants have been injured by the sharp wire. Oh, gee, maybe don't climb it. And the Justice Department has argued the barriers impedes the U.S.'s government's ability to patrol the border. Good God, including coming to the aid of migrants in need of help. God, that just makes it sound so good. Like, we need to be able to guard the border. So would you please just remove the border? We need to be able to help the people who are coming in illegally. So we need you to remove the border. I don't know how up to speed everybody is on this. Just an example before we get into the really gross stuff. The U.S. is at war with itself, the tweet says. Thomas Jefferson's statue removed from New York City Hall after 187 years. This is just sad. This is sad. And it's not the first. And it's probably not going to be the last. But I think timing is everything, right? If this happened during BLM, which I believe some of it did, that's one thing. You know, that's rioting. That's people losing their minds over ideology. Like, still super effed up. Real effed up. However, when you have Thomas Jefferson being removed from New York City Hall after 187 years, as Texas essentially starts a very soft, but with potential for hard conflict with the U.S. government, it's a frightening thing to think about. It's a frightening place that we seem to be at the moment. This is the map. Maybe a civil war in the U.S. is a good thing. It says, drain the swamp, expel all the parasitic elites from America, stop all the degeneracy, and start with a clean slate. Militias from several states are now going to Texas. All the handlers surrounding senile Biden are evil. So I'll explain briefly what's happening for those who don't follow the news at all. Texas has begun putting up border itself. It's employed the National Guard. I'm sorry, the National Guard of Texas. And then I believe, what do they call them? Do they call them the Rangers? I don't remember. But they have a national police in Texas. Or, oh, shit, what do they call them? What do they call them? They have their own, like, so they have regular police in Texas. They have something above it, but it's under their guard. And then they have the guard. I can't remember what it's called, but they have a specific term for it. But Texas has employed their own local guard to build the border wall in certain areas where it's becoming a problem. Biden instructed for that to be taken down. Texas said, yeah, you can go F yourself. We're not going to take it down. We're going to put more up. So now, at the moment, there's kind of a standoff of Texas saying we will not comply, and the U.S. government has not really given a response yet. There are a handful of things they can do. The U.S. government can just let it go and let Texas continue to do what they're doing, which realistically doesn't stop the flow of illegal immigrants. They're just going to move to other areas. They have New Mexico. They have Arizona. They have California. There are a bunch of other routes and even other places in Texas. This is, I believe it's centralized in Eagle Pass, which is just a specific section of border. So it's not like it shuts down the flow of illegals. They're still going to get what they want, and they're still going to get floods of illegal immigrants coming into the U.S. So they might do that. That would be the defusing option for the U.S. government. The other route that they could take is they could I think is what they call it, nationalizing the local guard in Texas. So they could give kind of an executive federal order to the Texas guard and say, look, we are taking control of you. You are going to do what we tell you to do. And from there, the local Texas guard would either say, F you, Biden, we're doing what Texas is doing, or they would comply and then I guess see what happens. Because there are reports of militia from all over the country going down to Texas. And beyond that, there have been other state guards. I believe Florida was one of them, but there's a few others, I think up to 10, if I remember right. State guards from other states have been sent to the border at Texas. So all that to say, things are heating up to I'm not like a doomsday guy. I'm not like a, oh, the world's going to end guy. I mean, we watched Messiah 2030 and I was cynical. I'm cynical about everything. World War III, very cynical. However, this week was the first time in my entire life where I've begun to actually believe that I may live through the next serious war on this planet. I'm starting to really believe this. It's starting to get ridiculous. Worldwide, from what did we talk about? All the countries I named earlier, all of those independent conflicts. Sadly, we are involved in a lot of them. Why might that be? Sure, you have some theories. You cannot adequately defend yourself if you are everywhere all at once. You cannot adequately defend yourself if you are everywhere. And your resources are going everywhere. Your people and personnel are going everywhere. Your attention and your time are going everywhere. We are in the weakest in a million different ways. The U.S. is in the weakest position it's ever been, in my opinion, in all of U.S. history. Our people have never been as weak. Our army has never been as weak. In a lot of different ways, it's never been as weak. Financially, we've never been as weak. Our reputation in the world, never been as weak. In every possible way, we could not be in a worse position to defend ourselves should something happen. External. And then if you bring that home, say this thing with Texas and the Democrats in DC goes awry. What does that look like? That's a scary proposition. That's if you have kids, that should be a scary thing to think about. What if an actual, I don't like to call it civil war, it's a revolution. If this pops off, it's not civil war, it's a revolution. They're two different things, Google it. This would be, in my opinion, a revolution. So do I want my 7-year-old kid to grow up during a revolution? Like, no, I do not. That doesn't seem great, especially when you consider just the geography. It's not a clean split. There are people who are in the middle of it, you know? And you have to assume that the majority of people in the country are unaware and don't care. They're on their Instagram feed. They're watching YouTube. They don't know. They don't care. They won't care until they can't get food. They won't care until somebody they know gets killed in some conflict. And even then, I don't know if they'd really buy in until it was like at their doorstep, because I think we have never been as dumb as we are right now. All right, give me two. Yes, the wires are evil with all the people they seek out and injure. Oh God, what's going on? These razor wires are disgustingly inhumane. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess I get why Ghost said that. It was very sarcastic the way Ghost said it. Shame. However, I agree. The razor wires don't hurt people. The people who try to climb over razor wires that they're not supposed to do or climb over, they hurt the razor wire, actually. Like, you know, that's a choice. The razor wire didn't choose to be there. The people choose to climb over it. Yeah, Floof, they aren't meant to cross over. He was definitely being sarcastic. Facts, it's illegal to cross, come legally. Yeah, I mean, that's really it. That's it. The US, and I'm almost sure that I'm right about this, but the US brings in more people from other countries throughout all of US history than any other country on the entire planet. I don't want to hear that we're like these assholes for saying, no, you can't come into our country. I don't care. That's not true. We are so multicultural. We have been so accepting of people from other countries, cultures, demographics. Come in. Just do it legally. Do it legally. I just imagine, man, if I was somebody from Iran, right? And I came here 8 years ago, 10 years ago, and I went through all the trouble. My family had to stay back in Iran. I finally was able to bring them over. It was this whole 3-5 year event of gaining citizenship. And now I was here. I had built a life here. My family's finally here. We went through fucking hell to get here. And then now you can just walk in. I would be livid. I would be so pissed. Just the disrespect for what I had gone through going the legal route, not to mention the finance. Like, they're getting thousands of dollars when they walk across the border. Cell phones, money, food. When you come from, you had to pay for it yourself. You had to pay for the court to go through and actually get citizenship. Then you had to pay for your family to come. Now, not only do you not have to pay for it, we literally pay you. If I was somebody who came here legally, I can't even imagine how just absolutely pissed I would be. How wildly angry I would be at the United States. As wires are inanimate objects, people seem not to really have a problem when immigrants from the Ukraine are coming here and other refugees. But once there's a difference, no, I have a huge problem with Ukraine coming here. I don't know, man. I've never met a person who cared what the color of the person was. It's the fact that you are here and this is not your home. It's that you're here and you're bringing your country here. Your concepts, ideas, ideologies, you're bringing them here. If everything was good where you came from, perhaps stay there. And I think bringing other cultures into the US to a certain degree is a great thing. I really do. Like Chinatown, for instance, awesome. I'd be really disappointed if we didn't have Chinatowns in a lot of major cities in the US because it's awesome. The same with like Hispanic food is my favorite food ever. And a lot of the Hispanic people in my life are my favorite people in my entire life. They're the best people I know. I don't give a shit what color you are. I care that this has become a massive problem. And I don't care if it's a white dude crossing the border from Russia or Ukraine, or if it's a Mexican, or if it's Venezuelan, or somebody from Africa. I don't care. It's the fact that this has become a major problem. I think you should turn away all colors of the rainbow at the border and tell them to go home at this point. And then they can go through legal right. When they were bringing Ukrainian refugees here, I was upset. I think there are situations where refugees, that things needs to happen. However, I think there are some UN rules. Somebody would have to check me on this, but I think there is a UN rule where you're supposed to go to like wherever is closest to where you're fleeing from, which the US is not that in the case of Ukraine. So in no way was I about the Ukrainian thing either. It's not our responsibility. And the minute we accept, well, what about the people that are here? What about the veterans? That's always the best example. What about the veterans who can't get good health care? They can't get good psychological care. They can't get any sort of actual beneficial financial support, but we're going to bring people in from across the border who are white, who are Mexican, who are black, don't care. And we're going to give them money. We're going to give them a cell phone, and we're going to watch the vet sit on the corner. That's fucked. That's the problem. There is plenty that we can do here for people who are already here. That should be our primary responsibility. Every day when I come home from work, I'm not concerned about feeding my neighbor. I'm going to feed the girls in my house. I'm going to feed Kat. I'm going to make sure Zaya has food. That's my immediate responsibility. The US's immediate responsibility is United States citizens. And then if we have a surplus after that, I'm all about helping people from war-torn countries and people who are escaping things that are awful situations, radical governments, whatever. But the reality is we have a radical government that needs to be dealt with. We have people who are struggling that need to be dealt with. We don't just flood the fucking country with more people that we can't take care of and then figure out a way to take care of them while the people who have been here their entire lives, and in many cases have fought wars so that we can have the country, are not taken care of. They need to be taken care of. So in my opinion, it's not about what color you are. That's my very long way of saying I don't care what color you are. It's the fact that you're not supposed to be here. There are legal ways of going about it. And even then, there are people here who have fought so that you could live here and be able to say your opinions on the internet however you want. They gave you that right. they should be taken care of first. Surplus should go to others. White, Mexican, black, don't care. Yellow, don't care. You green, perhaps, the aliens come up out of the ocean. We'll take care of them, but not immediately. They're not our immediate responsibility. Sorry. But Joe, I think people forget. Joe, you're explaining exactly what my sister went through. It's so frustrating. I think people forget this is my home. This is my ancestors' home. More than that, it's anyone else on here, and I don't know why people forget that. It's my home too. My parents were born here. I was born here. It's not, there are people who have lived here who should be, that's all I'm saying. Or perhaps that was to something else I said because I ranted for a long time. You can bring it up again if I missed what you were talking about. It's all of our home is what I'm saying. We all have citizenship. That makes it our home. I'd sit right next to an Iranian dude right now and be like, this is your home, brother. This is your home. Because he's a citizen and he went about it the legal way. And then he brought his family here the legal way. I would call him a citizen and tell him that this is his home just as much as mine. It's not the home of the people who are just running across the border, getting funding, getting phones, and then scattering off into the country. It's not their home. It's not. Citizenship works how citizenship works. It isn't about race, it's about the safety of the nation. He literally said, if you don't think terrorists have crossed, yeah, that's the primary problem. If you look at the actual numbers, military age men far surpass everything else. The women and children are absolutely there. And if anybody tries to say that they're not, you're a liar. And you're the reason people don't believe shit that's said. There are tons of women and children crossing the border. Tons. However, the predominant demographic is military aged males. And honestly, the predominant demographic is not Mexicans. That's also just not true. I believe the top, and I could be wrong, so check me. I think it's Venezuela. I think that's what it is. Massive numbers of Chinese people are coming in. There are literal Chinese hotels scattered through South America that there's some guys did a really great documentary vlog where they did the trek from South America into the US. They crossed the border illegally just to show what it was like. I'll try to find it and put it in Discord later. It was awesome because they showed these hotels that are literally Chinese hotels. It's all Chinamen. It's mostly military aged China males that have these whole hotels that are just them. And they talked to these people and they explained how they're flooding South America with people from China. And then they're coming up to the US through there. It's not this innocent thing of a bunch of women and children seeking refugee from corrupt governments that exists. That should be helped through proper channels. But if nothing else, there needs to be a blockade to stop the people who are not women and children genuinely and authentically fleeing a bad situation. It's not the majority, it's the minority. The majority needs to be dealt with so the minority can be taken care of properly, because I think it should. We should be able to help these people as much as possible. Let's deport immigrants. I don't think we should start back from 1492. But just don't let them come in. It's just not that hard. Go back to what we were doing before, where we had a border like every other country in the entire world had until relatively recently. This plot of dirt has been lived on by tons of folks during the past several hundred years. Who would be doing that deporting? My friend Mark married a woman from the Philippines, and they had to wait more than 2 years for her daughter to be allowed to come to America. Thank you, Ruth. That's what I'm talking about. That's sickening. That's sickening. They did it the right way, and they did it because they genuinely believed they'd be able to have a better life here. And then they built a life. Because they probably were not just given money. They probably had to get jobs and build as a functioning member of the United States economy, which is the point. Bringing other cultures in is really good for the economy. It's really good for culture so that we are multicultural, because I think that's really, really important. But having that culture come in and destroy American culture it goes against what you actually go through if you earn citizenship legally. If you earn citizenship legally, there's a process where you essentially are agreeing to not abandon your culture, but to assimilate into our culture, because it's the United States of America. We function a certain way. We have a specific culture. You are welcome to bring your culture, but your culture is not to overwhelm ours. It's to assimilate into. And there's a difference. And the people who do it legally, they have time to assimilate into. And they go through that process, which makes that process clear of its assimilation. People who are rushing across the border, there's no process like that. It's just boom, you're here. No checks and balances. You're given a court date that you don't have to show up to. There's nothing. Ideally, we should have no borders in the world, but there are bad humans, so it can't happen. Yeah, I mean, ideally, for sure, I agree. But yeah, it's unrealistic, right? Not having borders is just unrealistic. Everyone sucks. We know this. It's all about the money. Yeah, it is all about the money. This is why I separate people based on ideology, no other metric. Yeah, a lot of the time that's true, huh? And yeah, it's definitely always okay to support your beliefs. You just got to be ready to get argued with, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. It's all about power and influence. Money is just a tool to achieve it. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Wild animals like wolves have their own natural borders. It's for safety, to be able to populate and live. We are much different. Yeah. I mean, all animals to some degree, right? I guess not all, but a lot of animals have borders in some way. Why aren't people melting down about Asian countries not accepting illegal immigrants? Yeah, that was a question I had too. Nobody cares that the Chinese, Japan, Korea, that they're just not taking people in. It's fine. They're Asian. They don't have to participate. They're Asian. It's okay. Nat said, absolutely. My sister-in-law had no credit, barely spoke English, and had no other family here other than us. She worked so hard, and they have a beautiful, successful life here. The American dream. See, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I'm all about that. I think that's amazing. I think there will never be enough of that, because I think that's the proper way. I think it's the proper way so that we are still able to function as a society and as a country the way that we do. I mean, this is so quickly eroding everything, just in general, I guess. It's eroding just everything. All right, I'm done ranting, so I'm going to continue. There's a few more, and then I'm hoping to be off here in the next 5-10 minutes. Volunteers from 27 states. Oh, I was way off. I said 10. Volunteers from 27 states are on their way to Texas. Constitutional crisis unfolding. Stand with Texas. Civil war. Supreme Court failed America again. That's a lot. So the interesting thing is, I think, the interesting thing is that tips over, right? 27. 27 is a tip in what I personally believe is the right direction. All right, let me see where we left off here. All right, so since civil war in Texas, since Biden's federal government was letting illegal migrants enter the country unchecked, voter scam, which is true. I think we talked about that last week. The migrants themselves cannot vote, which is what a lot of Democrats are saying. Well, they can't vote anyways. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all about congressional seats, which is why California has more congressional seats, and it's why other states on that side who are sanctuary states are also going to have a very similar thing. They're going to have more congressional seat poll, and that's the actual focus. It's not about the migrants being able to vote. But once they get their citizenship down the line, then they will be able to vote. And then that will be a conversation. At this point for this election, it's not really a part of the conversation. Anyways, voter scam. The state of Texas took matters into their own hands and seized control of Border Patrol, defying Biden administration and U.S. Supreme Court. Now Biden has issued 24-hour ultimatum for Texas to return control over Border Patrol to the federal government, or else he will send U.S. military, and even worse, he will order Texas National Guard to turn against the authorities, which is what I was talking about earlier. That we're waiting for that. 25 American state governors have signed a petition in support of Texas, which opposed the federal government. They determined Biden administration to protect the border and the entire country from illegal immigrants. The insane deep state run Democrat. This is all obviously from one side of the aisle. So just be clear, I'm not promoting a political view in this sense. I'll promote it when I talk, but in this sense, this is just for the video more than anything else. But what the tweet says is the insane deep state run Democrats have been planning for civil war. They've been building barriers around the White House and federal building. They know it's coming. They want it. They need it to impose martial law and shut down a Trump 2024 election win. The video shows just that, some kind of preparedness out there in, this is actually 2021. See, this is what I love, man. This is what I love. Here you go. So the video is actually from, they didn't have the community note earlier today. This is why I love Twitter now. The video shows barrier security that were put in place around the Capitol ahead of Biden's inauguration in 2021. Love it. So completely disregard. Thank God for Twitter. Texas versus the feds. Is this the start of a civil war so that the installed President Joe Biden can remain in office? This is all effing planned by the UN. Just read Agenda 2030, which is actually alarmingly accurate if you have not read it. I will just say again, the United States of America is being controlled by the UN. Joe Biden sold America. I stand with Texas. Keep those MFers out. At some point, maybe we should read Agenda 2030 together. It's quite interesting. When your evil plans are transparent as fuck. That's great and all, but my point is using inhumane acts at the border as if everyone is an actual criminal. But technically they are, because technically crossing the border is illegal. I don't know. I'd rather them have barbed wire than be macing them or shooting them or even arresting them. Like, you know, it's a deterrent. The point of razor wire is not to cut you. The point of razor wire is for you with the functioning brain to say, I don't want to get cut. Therefore, I'm not going to crawl over a bunch of tiny little knives. If you choose to do that, you're kind of imposing that upon yourself, in my opinion. Nobody ever at all was forced to crawl through razor wire. It's a choice. This is from earlier this week. This is just showing, I believe this is the Texas National Guard. When they were first putting up the razor wire, that Biden then directed they take down. Just kind of showing the process for them. So I don't know. I don't know. Why are people from countries other than Mexico passing through Mexico to climb walls? Yeah, see that's the most important question to me. That and just the reality that it is not predominantly Mexicans that are coming here. It's not. It's predominantly other demographics. So even if this was a race thing, me knowing that, I'm not racist against Mexicans because they're not the primary ones that are coming here. I would be against a bunch of other demographics that I genuinely, I don't want random people just coming into the country. It's not safe. It's really just that simple. It's not safe. I don't want a TSA finger in my ass if you're going to let anybody just walk into the country. That means all of the airports should just be open again. No metal detectors, no TSA finger butt, no nothing. You get on the plane, you fly somewhere. If somebody does something, I guess it just happens because that's our approach to the border. Why the hell would that not be our approach on an airplane? It's logically inconsistent. It's in policy context inconsistent, which is the epitome of this entire administration. Is there's no logical foundation of anything. It's just random shit all over the place that conflicts with the last thing that they did or with something else that is happening currently. It's a wild way to run a country. If that alarms you, go look at what happens to people who cross into other countries. See, and that's what I'm talking about. It's like, I'm glad that it's just razor wire as a deterrent. In other countries, they'll just shoot you. Or in other countries, they will arrest you and throw you in a dark dungeon until they're ready to deal with you. At least it's here. It's like, hey, don't come here. There's razor wire, very sharp, much sharp. Don't climb the razor wire. As you can see here, don't do it. They're like, I'm gonna fucking do it. And it's like, okay, well, you chose that. That's a choice. I don't support your decision, but you're going to suffer the consequence that we made very, very obvious by putting all of this razor wire here. TSA likes to go to TSA likes to go to second base with you. Yes. Yes. Anybody? Never mind. I was going to make a dirty joke. I'm not going to. We had a hard enough Thursday. All right, real quick, I'm going to run through some of the Discord stuff, and then I'm going to roll for the night. These, we got to stop making these 2 hours long. All right, Ruth in Discord sent this one in. Oh, I remember this now. This was good. TSA is probably a category now. There's a lot. Oh my God, if TSA becomes a category on Pornhub.
Sardines. What a way to ring in the new year. Society's in shambles.
Uh-oh.
Our daughters are walking around on leashes. We got people bringing possums on the train and shit. I mean, there's always been nut jobs roaming around the city, but there seems to be a new level of depravity going on here. Like, what is this? How many McFlurries do you have to consume to get stuck on a turnstile? There you go. Flip that McMuffin eating barrel ass out of the way, will you? It's like every turn you take, there's some sort of dysfunction going on with people. See, this is why you don't mix all the sodas together. Oh, imagine serving the public these days. This guy's just trying to give these jackasses their food. Meanwhile, they're over here acting like they're being sodomized. Imagine going through the shirt rack and you see this going on next to you.
And it burned as I cried and I knew you were screaming out my name, my name.
People just film anything these days.
I am back at my Walmart, just doing some shopping. That's all I'm doing.
Okay, Patty, nobody's interested.
So I saw a couple of my friends that I used to work with, and they were actually really happy to see me. I was happy to see them too.
And that calls for a public announcement? What do you want us to say? Yay, you ran into people.
So that was me in Morris, Illinois, 844. Signing out.
You did it, Patty. You went to Walmart, walked around, and left the building. Talk about influencing. I gotta say, you're a lot braver than most of us. You never know what you're gonna see at the department stores anymore. I'll be honest, I'd be less surprised to see people shopping on horseback than I would to see people scrambling to save $2 on a soup thermos. Look at this, like flies on a pile of horse manure. Meanwhile, outside in the parking lot, old Gertrude over here is banging into your car door. You can't even park your car amongst these people. Look at all the dings on your car. Where do you think they come from? Old Bertha Baggins lurking around your car. Someone ought to hotwire hers and leave the old bag stranded in the parking lot. We got fungus sniffers lurking around. Chewed gum lickers. What is this planet? Everybody wants attention. It's like oxygen to these people. You can't even go sightseeing anymore without this type of nuisance. Boy, you could see the testosterone levels dropping in real time with these two, huh? Oh, and they're weirding the kids out. I don't know, man. If this is a sign of what's to come, I think the best thing to do is just stay home and let the defected have the streets. Talk to you later.
Oh, good God. UK police investigating case of 16-year-old girl's virtual group not consensual activity in the metaverse. Yeah, this has actually happened a bunch of times. I believe the US, I want to say Dubai had one several years ago. So when metaverse was like just coming out, I don't know where any of this went, but I know that for a time they had to take the lower bodies off of the characters in the metaverse because people kept being sexually assaulted. So at first they had full bodies, and then they just had upper bodies because of this. So this is a developing thing that we'll see where it goes. But it says as technology has evolved, So has the threat to children of online abuse. Over time, the scale of offending has continued to grow. The age of the victim has gone down, and the level of depravity have reached unimaginable levels. It's true. We should not be surprised at the latest form of online child abuse. This will be the first of many reports of abuse perpetrated in virtual rooms. This is a serious, and even beyond this, it's a way of accessing the kids. I don't remember if it was Thursday or last week we talked about it, but the internet is how kids are accessed now. So all I'm going to say for the sake of time is if you're a parent and your kid has any kind of device at all that has internet access, Minecraft, Roblox, Fortnite, there are tons of cases of kids being gone at in that way through those innocent games. If you're a parent and you have a kid with internet access, you would be astonished at how wildly invasive I am. My kid has devices I want her to be tech savvy. I want her to be able to, she has a Kindle. She learns, she genuinely learns a lot with that time, limited time, but she learns during that time. So I want her to be able to have that access. So as a parent, I have locked her down. Any tap she does is logged and I can see it. Anything that comes in, data in, is logged and I can see it. It's a full day transcript of anything that happened on the phone at all. And I think if you're a parent today and you're not doing that, I wish you the best. But I would call you irresponsible.
One thing that Davos, you might say, and the people come here stand up for, is liberal democracy.
Well, it's laughable that you would, or anyone would, describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. It's
Standing up for it.
It's equally laughable to use the word dictatorship at Davos and aim that at President Trump. In fact, I think that's absurd. But I'm going to step aside from that constructive criticism and instead answer your question. President Trump, if he's the next president, for that matter, I think whoever the next conservative president is going to take on the power of the elites. The very reason that I'm here at Davos is to explain to many people in this room and who are watching, with all due respect, nothing personal, but that's your part of the problem. Political elites tell the average people on 3 or 4 or 5 issues that the reality is X, when in fact reality is Y. Take immigration. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. They're right. President Trump will take that on behalf of the average American. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities. Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. President Trump will take that on. I guess the favorite at the World Economic Forum, climate change. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change, so much so that climate alarmism is probably the greatest cause for mental health crisis in the world. The solutions, the average person know, based on climate change, are far worse and more harmful and cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. The fourth, China, the #1 adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. Count on President Trump ending that nonsense. Inspired by the wise words of Javier Milei, who said that he was in power not to guide sheep, but to awaken lions. That's what the average American and the average free person on planet Earth wants out of leaders.
Hey, yeah, that guy's a badass. Badass. I don't know who that is. Who is that? Ghost? His voice sounds familiar because I don't watch really anything. I listen to things. His voice sounds familiar, but I can't at all place him. What do they know? World's billionaires are building bunkers and assembling fortresses outside of their mansions. Electric bikes start record number of fires in New York. Transport was seen as solution to climate change, but lithium-ion batteries can explode, which has killed more than 100 people in U.S. cities. Wow. New York City bound flight canceled when passengers noticed missing bolts on a plane wing. Kat told me about that one. India is starting to split in two, new study discovers. Trans man who has a mastectomy discovered to be 5 months pregnant, making rare seahorse dad. NFL announces Black national anthem will be performed at Super Bowl. Transgender students at boarding schools where fees cost up to £45,000 a year are being allowed to sleep in dorms of their preferred gender despite clashing with government guidelines. Elon Musk says to expect roughly 1 billion humanoid robots in the 2040s. Oh. Marathon runner disqualified for chain smoking throughout the entire race. What? If your relationship ready for, oh no, polyamory, 6 signs that point to yes. Get the fuck out of here. Degenerate. All right, what else you got here, Ghost? Disease X, the WHO director, calls for an international treaty to plan for next pandemic. Oh, shocking. San Francisco Mall loses 5th store in a month as occupancy plunges to just 25%. Take a look at IKEA's limited edition Ninja hot dogs. In Japan, is that for real? That can't be real. Group of newly arrived migrants allegedly behind string of burglaries plaguing Chicago suburbs. Yeah, it's actually been a big thing here recently. There's also, yeah, no, just big thing. I'll leave it at that. Chicago mayor treated at hospital for panic attacks amid illegal immigrant crisis, reporters claim. 2 sources told me that he has been in the hospital for these panic attacks, and he is stressed out because this is big job for him. Yeah, it's because they have nowhere to put these people. Is your relationship? Same one. Polyamory. Not a fan. Degenerate. Transgender golfer Haley Davidson wins Florida tournament and is now set to receive 1 of 5 women's places on prestigious tour. Fuck you. Woman who married a rag doll admits their family life is complicated after she had twins and says her husband is stressed about providing for the... See, no, there's no fucking way. There's no way that's real. There's no way. Okay. Oh, I don't want to live here. All right, this one's from Mikkel.
This is Admiral Rob Ballard.
Oh, no way. Sorry. 30 minutes long. 30 minutes long. So if you go into the forum for tonight, Mikkel posted this. Alert, NATO Admiral tells truth, stockpile food, and prepare for, I'm sure, doomsday, essentially. If you're interested, go grab a read on that. And see if this one's any shorter. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap up. I gotta get the kiddo to bed. No, that's long too. All right, there's some longer stuff in the forum on Discord if you guys are interested. Here's a shorter one. 1 month ago, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signs bill letting police arrest migrants who cross the border illegally. Texas is blocking U.S. border agents from patrolling. Biden administration tells Supreme Court. Supreme Court shockingly sides with Biden on Texas standoff with feds. Did we cover all this? Greg Abbott declares that Biden has broken the compact between the United States and Texas, invokes right to defend itself from invasion. Trump, RFK Jr. side with Texas in border fight with Biden. Admin as 25 states show support. Yada, yada, yada. All right, yeah, we covered all this. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything real good.
You know, I am the last speaker before the big guy comes out. The big guy. The beer brewed here, it is used to make the brew beer in this refinery.
Yes.
Oh, Earth Rider, thanks for the Great Lakes.
Ooh, Earth Rider. Yeah, I saw this on Twitter at like 5 a.m. this morning and I died.
I wonder what it's called.
It's so
My
good.
professor, well, I won't get into my professor. Well, look, my predecessor, though, we get look. We now have. We used to, before the recession, before the pandemic. It cost $10 to make it. $10 to make it.
I just don't get it. Even if you are like a staunch Democrat, you have to be like, the dude has lost his fucking mind. It's abuse, dude. What is happening to Joe Biden is abuse. There is no comprehension in this man anymore at this point. You cannot change my mind. 2 years ago, even, I felt like sometimes he had some cognitive, wheels still spinning. Today, it's elder abuse. What they're doing to him they should go to prison.
And that harkens back to President Biden's campaign vow to put the fossil fuel business out of business. And he said that, he said, read my lips, we will put fossil fuels out of business.
I did not hear him say that. I think the president recognizes,
just look at YouTube.
as we all do, that
on
there.
YouTube.
But kiddo, I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree, but I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate. I did not hear him say that.
Just look at YouTube.
A lot of old tapes of Biden have been coming out recently. It's been pretty good.
What I would do as president is several more things, because things have changed. I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
But it doesn't seem like it's a priority for him to stop the flow of people coming across. It sounds like the priority is to help them get across more easily.
I couldn't disagree more.
Okay.
It is not President Biden's priority to increase the flow of people.
I would urge everyone to at least go watch this that Mikkel posted. And Mikkel, thank you for posting this. This was interesting. This one right here. And then the other one that he had that was too long for us tonight. If you get some time, I would listen to that too. I'm sure, Mikkel is not a man of unimportant things, is all that I would say. So anything that Mikkel posts is of value of some kind. So I would recommend everybody go check those out. But we are done. So if you happen to be watching this later, then you should join the Discord. There's a link in the description below. It's cool. It's a great place. It's fun stuff. There's good people, smarter people than me. Great place to be. Want to be smart? Join Discord. Did I sell that well? I am going to go read a novel about wild clans of cats to my 7-year-old. And then I'm going to go to sleep. Deep State Shenanigans. Oh, did it lag? Yeah, no, we did drop frames for a minute. It seems okay now. It seems okay now. And we will be hardwired to the internet starting next week. So hopefully that solves the problems that we have outside of when YouTube has dropped the stream. But Thursday, it seems my internet did disconnect. I just don't see how, because everything else was still running. But remember, everything that all these live streams go to Rumble also. So if the stream ever does cut out, check Rumble first, or just come straight to Discord. And then if Rumble's up, I'll tell you from Discord, and then you can go there. But we'll just always default to Discord. That's how we finished Thursday night this week. And if you dropped off Thursday night, or you can stay, I posted the Rumble link right here. I can't upload this to YouTube because I probably will get a strike. And even if not, the algorithm hates everything about what we're doing here, and I don't really care to make it worse. So, yeah, hardwired. Yep. I have a very expensive PC build I'm about to do. So everything about actual hardware will be real and not on a laptop, because that's what I'm doing right now. It's on a laptop. And then I just ran Ethernet through my attic today and dropped it down into the office. So we will be hardwired as of next weekend, hopefully, assuming I can get the computer built and then, get everything running. But I'm stoked. Should be good. Should be good. All right, guys. I love y'all. I'll see y'all in Discord. And have a good night. Tomorrow night, Bible study, Galatians. It's real good stuff. It's real good stuff. Highly recommend.